Welcome to CCM Discovery. I am Roger St. James, and I'm really glad that you're here. Now, this is a place where we get to slow down a little bit, and we talk about the stories behind the music that shapes our faith. Now, here, nothing is ever rushed. Nothing is polished to perfection, as you well know. We're just here to have honest conversations about creativity, callings, and the way God shows up in the middle of real life. So each episode, I get to sit down with artists, worship leaders, authors, comics, and the folks behind the scenes who are figuring things out just like the rest of us are. We like to talk about what inspires them, what challenges them, and how their walk with Christ shapes the words that they share with the world. Now, one of my hopes is that as you listen, you and I will hear something together that encourages us or gives us a fresh way to think about our own journey. So settle in, take a deep breath, and let's explore this together. This is CCM Discovery, and I'm Roger St. James.
I used to love this song as a kid.
Sin was great and love was greater. What could separate us now? What a wonderful name it is. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a wonderful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus.
And now let's meet the woman behind that beautiful voice. Please help us welcome MacKenna Swann.
Hello.
Hi, MacKenna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us here.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
I wanted to play that clip of yours as I stalked you on the internet, like I do just to find out anything that I could, because to me your voice is beautiful. That's just a given.
Thank
But
you so much.
you're welcome. That clip right there just pretty much says who you are and what you believe, and I just thought it was a great way to start the show.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for putting that on there. Yeah, that really even showed me, more. Yeah, it's awesome.
So let's dive right in. How did your faith walk start? Where did you find your love for Jesus?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Orange County, California, and I grew up, both of my parents are believers, and I didn't grow up going to church on a regular basis. My parents told me about the gospel when I was around 5 or 6, and so I gave my life to Jesus, and I was saved, and I had so much faith. And I found a Bible in my parents' house, and I started reading it in this little spot in my bedroom. And so that's kind of where my relationship with God first really started.
That's wonderful that it started so young, and
Yeah.
you got that foundation right there. And what about the music? Where was that something that just kind of happened, or did you used to walk around the house singing, jingles from television, or how did you find your voice?
Yeah, so I was actually really shy when I was a kid, and I always kind of knew that this was a dream that God put in my heart, and I kind of knew that this was the path that was going to happen, which was really cool. And so basically, when I was a kid, I used to play a lot of sports, and I wasn't really good at any of them. But when I was 11, I was actually diagnosed with this condition in my knees. And my parents took me to a really good orthopedic surgeon, and he said that he didn't think I was going to be able to walk for the rest of my life. And so I had a bunch of different knee surgeries, reconstructive surgeries as a kid. And it was just a long journey of, not being able to bear any weight on my legs for like 2 years. And I really kind of dove into music during that time. It was kind of like an escape and an outlet for me. Yeah.
Now how did that affect you? How did that affect your faith? And because all of a sudden, you're an 11-year-old playing sports, everything's going great, and then all of a sudden you hear, hey, guess what? You might never walk again. What was that like? And how did it affect your faith while you spent the time in the wheelchair and on the crutches and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, it was definitely it was really hard, in the beginning, and I feel like I've always been super fascinated about God, but when I experienced those hardships and like challenges, I remember, my parents moved my bed downstairs in our house, and I used to just kind of like cry and pray when everyone else was asleep, and I really felt like God gave me like a supernatural strength during that time, and it was really cool. Yeah.
That must be exciting to hang on to when you have all that weight of. I can't imagine what it's like to be 11 and told you might never walk again, and then to
Yeah.
be able to get through that, and that says a lot about your heart and how you really took to the faith and actually believe it. It's not just a word for you.
Thanks.
So what happened after that? What was like the rehab like, or getting back to being I guess like a 13 or 14-year-old young lady at that time?
Yeah, it was cool. Definitely those summers. I had like 3 summers where I had the surgeries, and oh, that's my phone. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, got a little Bob Marley.
I
in there.
love that. That's one of the kids I work with. That's his favorite song. Three
Oh,
Little
nice.
Birds. You
Yes, that
know?
song. Yes. But yeah, it was definitely it was a stressful time, and what was the question?
What was it like coming out of that? After spending a couple of years in wheelchairs and crutches, and then coming out of that. And you had mentioned that you had like 2 or 3 summers where it dragged you through.
Yes. Yeah, my parents made it really fun, and there was definitely a lot of hope, and I had kind of a unique experience growing up, just in physical therapy, and my mom actually hired some caregivers that were around my age, and or actually like 8 years older than me, and they were all Christians, and so they kind of like inspired me in that area, and it was really cool. And then I went to high school, and I was okay for a little bit with my knees, and so I was involved in musical theater, and then I went to Belmont. Yeah.
So when you were in high school, obviously you do more than have your faith. I'm guessing you're very expressive about it. What was that like for you in high school?
Yeah, it was actually interesting. So I felt like in high school I actually kind of felt a little distant from God. I kind of, yeah, I felt a little bit lost. And I wasn't as close to God as I was when I was a kid. And also in the beginning part of college. But during the pandemic was when I really deepened my faith in Jesus again. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you how the pandemic affected that, because we've had several guests mention that it was either a point of separation because they didn't understand what was going on, or like in your case, it was a point of reconnection. And
Yes, definitely.
so how did that work for you? Was it just because you had a lot of free time and you dove back into it, or was it while you were writing songs, or what was the reconnecting point?
Yeah, so definitely in high school, I felt like I just felt a little bit distant from God, a little lost, and that was another reason why I chose Belmont was because of the Christian community there. And I just remember, my mom actually put me in a Christian elementary and middle school growing up, and so just, I was inspired by some of my peers there, and my high school was not Christian, and so I felt like just being a kid and getting involved in a lot of different things, I kind of fell away from God a little bit, and so then I went to Belmont, and it was really inspiring. And I was at church one time at Belmont, and the pastor was saying that the 2 ways to get closer to God are reading the Bible and praying. And so I was hearing that from a lot of different, podcasts and sermons, and I really kind of like took it to heart, and I said, okay, I feel like this is what, I really need to be doing right now. And then in 2020, I was in my parents' house for 12 months, locked down. And so for 6 of those months, I just took 10 minutes in the morning and I read the Bible and prayed. And, for the first time in like 5 or 8 years, I felt like God was the number one priority in my life. And, it was like my life was changed. Yeah.
And I love the way you said that because, and I'm guilty of it just like many other people. It's not a hard thing to do. I
Yeah.
mean, we've got a Bible in almost every room. And yet, how many times, and I'll just speak for myself, I'll go 2 or 3 days and just walk by it, or I'll pick out the phone and start scrolling Instagram, or
Yeah.
instead of, and it's always like, hey, I'm over here,
Mhm.
and then I wonder why I start getting frustrated, or things aren't going well. And
Uh-huh.
then, and I really like the way you said it, 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
It is all it takes. I can put the phone down for 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure I can do that.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
things kind of came back together for you at Belmont, which is fantastic. And
Yes.
so when did I don't want to say this, when did you really know you wanted to be a performer? Because that's a huge step to take. I mean, that's, everybody when they're growing up, oh, I want to be a rock star. Well, it's nice to want that, but you actually thought you could do it and have proven you can. When did that decision happen?
I would say that I really made the commitment to be an artist. Probably, I would say in the past couple years, just really committing, and I've signed with this amazing management team called Rickson Entertainment, and I've just been working with them, and I've always loved songwriting. I was a songwriting major at Belmont, and it's always just been like a love of mine and a passion. And over the past, few years is when I'm really like, okay, I'm committing. This is what I'm doing full time.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you are, because, and I like that you mentioned songwriting, because your songs, they're good. I
Oh, good.
mean, they really, they come from a place, and you know, I'll always love you, Mom. You know
Yes.
that. What's the story behind that? With Mother's Day just around the corner, what's the story of that one?
Yeah, yeah. So my mom has, she's just inspired me, throughout my life. And, I just thought this would be a cool song to just kind of, I wrote this and I kind of wanted to surprise her a little bit. And I just remember one time I was in prayer and I was with God, and I just remember Him kind of like downloading all of these memories of my mom and, just everything that she's done in my life, just a lot of good memories. And, it just kind of hits you when you realize like everything that a parent's done for you in your life. And so I wrote this song really quickly after that, and then I showed it to my mom as a surprise, and she was like, "We need to record this right now." And so I was like, "Okay." So we recorded it, and then yeah, it did pretty well. So yeah,
No, it's beautiful. I mean, I highly recommend anybody play it for their mom on
yeah,
Mother's Day, or
thank
every
you.
day actually. You really should play that song for your mom every day. Once you realize, as you said, you get older, what they put up with, and what they've gotten us through.
Yeah, yes, yeah. She
So what's
sacrificed
your?
a lot in my
Oh yeah,
surgery. Yeah,
oh yeah, that's right. That must have been a very interesting time for her as well. Because
yeah,
you're not trying to be positive all the time, and yet
yes.
wondering what's really going on.
Hmm.
So that's an excellent point. Now, so what are you doing now? Do you do, from what I understand, you lead worship at your church occasionally? Is that still true?
Yes, yeah, I used to go to the church at Woodbine. I'm not currently leading worship there anymore. I'm going to a different church right now. But I led worship at that church for about a year.
What was that? What was that like? I mean, because at that time you're starting to become MacKenna Swann. So what's it kind of like to be in that church where you get to be who you are, not the MacKenna Swann they hear on the radio and watch on YouTube and Instagram?
Yes, it was amazing. Yeah, that church has such an amazing community, and I really loved, being there. And it was just such a cool way to give back. Yeah, and just to be myself and just make it about God, and and I think music is ministry. Even being an artist, but it was just really cool. And I loved. Yeah, leading worship, it's such a cool experience just to hear everyone worshiping and just leading that,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you get to be part of it, and just being there when it all comes together must be pretty exciting.
Yes.
Okay, let's name drop a little bit. Let's have some fun. Let's just throw out the name, oh, I don't know, Kelly Clarkson.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, tell us the Kelly Clarkson story. This is awesome.
Yeah, yes. Oh my gosh, it was such a fun experience. That's probably one of my favorite, the best days of my life, to this day. But when I was at Belmont, it was really cool. I was a sophomore, and I just really started kind of pursuing singing and songwriting. And my mom got a phone call from our acupuncturist growing up, and she said, "I have this opportunity for you to sing at this gala." And it was just so cool. And, we flew back to Orange County, and yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, so what was it like? Because from what I understand, she's also a woman of faith. So
Oh,
it must
yeah.
have been interesting to have those conversations with her and just hanging out with her.
Yes, yeah. I got to meet her once. It was kind of like in a little meet and greet thing, but she was so nice and genuine and down to earth. And I was actually in a wheelchair at that event. And so I think she was just like, she was just very kind and yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to start your singing career in a situation like that. And
Yes,
at that point, you must have really known, hey, I want to do this. I think this is where I want to be.
yes, definitely.
So you're a very young woman, and there's a huge we all know what's happening in the world right now. It's a lot of stuff going on, and there is a bit of a revival happening.
Yes.
And what do you think people in your age group? What do you think they're looking for from the church and from God?
Ooh, I think they're looking for authenticity, definitely. Yeah, I'm very inspired by Christian artists right now who are just very honest and who are helping, people, Gen Z and a lot of younger people to just connect with God. That's something I'm super passionate about is just trying to show the character of God through my music in the way that, I've kind of developed my relationship with him over the years is I feel like it's been him kind of like revealing his character to me and who he actually is, and just me, just being in friendship with God. And so I want to just express that, through my music. I feel like that's what people are looking for.
And that's one of the things that drew me to you and your music was you're very real.
Oh,
There's a
thank you
very
so much.
oh yeah. There's no. I was on the air back in the late, you know, 80s, early 90s, around the 2000s, and music was different then. And I got out of the industry, and a while back, I started listening to the music again, and I wasn't impressed. And that's when I got the idea to start diving onto Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, and seeing if any music connected with me, or if there was something real. And that's when I started finding artists like yourself, and that's what inspired, or God told me to help let people know about artists like the band Jaren, the Man Clan, you know, um,
Yeah.
Autumn Eve, and MacKenna Swann, because there's so much out there that is just so good that is not, and with the ability today with what we're doing right here, and we have a computer and a microphone, and
Yeah.
you can. And how have you used your social media and your ability to record stuff? I mean, what we played at the beginning of the show, that was just, I'm guessing, a living room or a den, and the sound was perfect. It came out great, and that's the advantage I think this generation of artists like yourself has.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yes.
how have you found social media to work for you?
Yeah, yes. I try to use definitely like my music and my music career as like an evangelism platform. And I feel like God has, worked so well and just has worked so much in social media. And sometimes, when I'm feeling discouraged, I get a comment and one person said, "I listen to your music in the morning when I go to rehab." And I was like, wow, that's so
Wow.
cool. Like that's so amazing, someone who's on that journey is like listening to my music and just yeah, getting comments, and it's really encouraging. And I love doing TikTok lives and just being able to pray for people and just encourage them like one on one. Yeah.
And you're doing a great job. I mean, and like I said, and we've mentioned it, before we came on the air. Your voice, it is just so strong and powerful.
Thank you.
Is it just a natural thing, or is it just a God gift, or did you take lessons and work your way through that? What would you? I think this is where I'm stumbling to get to. What would, if somebody out there is listening to us and they're feeling led to kind of do what you're doing, what advice would you have for them?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would say to just keep going. I had a teacher in college that said, "You'll make it if you don't quit," and I love that. And so that's just kind of been my philosophy. I've definitely had a lot of setbacks and a lot of challenges, that have made me question things. And am I supposed to be doing this? And it's like, yes, and I feel like if God has put a dream on your heart, especially to do music or something, you should follow that. And he's used like so many people in my life, and it's definitely been like a process where God has used like a lot of people in my life, and it's been a cool journey. Yeah.
And just begin. You got a long way to go, MacKenna. You are far, far from done.
Thank you.
You mentioned earlier, you were inspired by artists. What artists? And it doesn't have to. We're not holding you to just only mentioning Christian names, because Bob Marley popped up a little while ago. What music have you been influenced by?
Yeah, yes. Growing up, my all-time favorite singer-songwriter was Sarah Bareilles.
It's a good choice.
Yeah, I loved her, and she's really the Little Voice album was what inspired me to be a singer-songwriter. And just listening to her play piano was so inspiring. I also love Tori Kelly. I grew up listening to a lot of John Mayer, Sheryl Crow. I had a big India RE phase, so that kind of soul music. Yes, yeah.
Because there's definitely an R&B type sound to what you do. I mean, we can't call it R&B, but there's definitely an R&B sound. Is that something you aim for, or is it just something that kind of came up?
Yes, yeah, I love soul music. I love Aretha Franklin. Actually, my all-time favorite singer is Jennifer Hudson.
It's a good
So,
choice.
yes, yeah, when I was a kid and my parents, I was like home alone, I used to crank up the YouTube karaoke and just like sing my heart out. Yes.
So you've been doing a lot of writing and recording, and we're gonna talk about one of your latest songs coming up, which is absolutely wonderful. What do you see happening for MacKenna Swann in the future? I mean, we're not going to play the interview question. Where are you going to see yourself in 5 years from now? But what do you think you want, and what do you hope happens?
Yes, yeah, I would love to be an artist. I mean, obviously, God knows the plans for my life, but I would just love to share my talent, and share my songs, write songs that impact people. I love making my own unique mark on Christian music. I love how much Christian music is changing and evolving nowadays, and with just so much musicality and creativity. And I love kind of putting my own unique stamp on that, and just continuing to minister to people through music. Yeah.
I love that, and I like the way you said that. You're putting your own unique stamp on it, and that's you've said it a couple of times, and it's so perfectly said that music is contemporary Christian music is changing.
Yes.
And whereas on this show we've had worship singers on, we've had R&B, we've had heavy metal, we've had rock, but every single person we've talked to, their core is the same. And that's what really comes through with you. You're doing it for Jesus. I mean, he just happened to bless you with a wonderful voice. I fully believe that if you didn't have the voice, you'd still be. Let me ask that question. What would you be doing if you didn't have that gift that you have?
I have no idea. I,
Yeah, it's kind of a loaded question. Really wasn't fair.
yeah, yes. I've actually might do something with like visual art. I've always loved painting, and I was an art minor in college.
Okay, so it's still out there.
Yes. Yeah.
I see a guitar behind you.
Yes.
Do you enjoy playing?
Yes. Yeah.
What was the first instrument that you got interested in?
Probably piano.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you made the switch. Do you play electric at all, or you just stick to the acoustic?
Usually just acoustic.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's better in the house. It doesn't rattle the windows as much.
Yeah.
Oh, MacKenna, this has been great. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and thank you for taking the time. And see, one thing that we like to do before we roll out here, my oldest son, Tyler, he's a legitimate hero. He's a fireman. And my youngest son, Matthew, is profoundly autistic. And for some reason, 9 seconds means something to him. So we like to ask our guests here at the end of the show if you have, we call it Matthew's 9-ish seconds of wisdom. So if you have something you'd like to say out there, do you think that God might be asking you to say, to just maybe make a difference?
Oh wow. Oh my gosh, that's really good. Yeah, I would just say that, yeah, Jesus loves you and keep going, don't give up on your dreams. Yeah.
That's so maybe we should, I don't know, live for a reason? Maybe we
Yeah,
should. So
definitely.
why don't you tell us about the song Living for a Reason?
Yes, yeah. This song is super special to me. It was written at an event called Rights and Bites here in Nashville, and it's a really cool event that I love. Basically, a lot of songwriters come together and write. A lot of Christian songwriters come together and write for a Christian artist. It's a really fun night, and we all break into small rooms and write songs, and then the artist ends up picking a couple of those songs to record. And so I got to be the artist for one of the nights, and so I picked that song, and yeah, it was just such a fun, experience to write, and I love how, it's kind of more in that pop realm, but has some of those soulful elements too.
Oh, it definitely does. And we are going to listen to it. But first, MacKenna, it was great to meet you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Thank you.
You are definitely giving us hope that music is going to make a comeback. And I'm so glad that you're out there doing it. And thank you for listening. Thank you for answering the call.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, this is really encouraging. So thank you.
It was our pleasure. And so let's all enjoy MacKenna Swann and Living for a Reason. Thank you, MacKenna.
Yes, thank you.
You could say I was loved, but I wouldn't believe it. You could say I was enough, but I couldn't see it. Didn't know my worth before I found your words. Now you're giving my life a whole new meaning. They say I'm living for a reason. That pain is only for a season. Your promise is spoken when my heart is broken. I can feel your healing. Now I know you're the light breaking up my darkness, shattering everything that kept me from you. Using all my hurt for your greater purpose. 'Cause I know that you're powerful in my weakness. They say I'm living for a reason. That pain is only for a season. Your promise is spoken when my heart is broken. I can feel your healing. whole